Yes, Stephen A. Smith is a genius. ESPN knows exactly what they're doing. And you fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. You know what I'm saying? People do this all the time. What happened to sports reporting? The worldwide leader in sports is now a VH1 show. They know what you are going to click on. You act like you hate it, but you love it. You love drama. You love stories. And I think even more importantly, for a business, it appeals to a wider audience. They know what they're doing. They could do a whole show just showing you Kevin Durant highlights. Sure. But guess what appeals to a wider audience? Drama. Take a basketball movie, for example. If they made a basketball movie, right? He Got Game or whatever. Love and Basketball. If they made a basketball movie and they just showed a basketball game, a really good one, basketball heads would watch it. Guess who wouldn't watch it? Everybody else. So they add a story, they add a love interest. You know, in 2025, they probably add a side story about someone who's secretly in the closet or something like that. And then and they make it a story and it's drama because it appeals to a wider audience. ESPN knows what they're doing. They're running a business. They want clicks, they want views, they want shares because it makes them money so they can pay all of the salaries they have to pay. They know having integrity and just sticking to sports doesn't make them as much money. It is what it is. Anyway, people, I think I'm making this video because people seem confused. Why is Stephen A. Smith so popular? Why is he the highest paid one at ESPN? Why is ESPN showing this story and talking about this? He's leading the charge. He's literally keeping the business afloat in an era where live TV is dying. And this stuff like this might be, you know, that meme where the dude has the Gucci book bag that's hanging on by a thread. Stuff like this might be the fact that these live TV broadcasts are hanging on by a thread. That's probably why it's getting so ridiculous, because they have to reach farther and farther and farther to get you to watch the show. But it's still working. Anyway, so you know the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron drama, okay? And then LeBron goes on the McAfee show and calls out Stephen A. Smith and all this stuff. And LeBron was probably paid by ESPN to fuel the thing, to start a fight. The whole thing is probably set up. It's probably just a different version of Stephen A. versus Skip Bayless. Maybe LeBron James is about to retire, and they said, hey, what would be better? What would get more views? What would keep us on live TV longer than having LeBron James versus Stephen A. Smith? Anyway, here's what Stephen A. Smith has said about the LeBron fight, and I want to show you guys how it's just working perfectly. Okay, Stephen A. Smith talked about how LeBron approached him. And he said, I just want to say for the record, LeBron is full of it. In this particular instance, it pertains to his son. He is a liar. This is where Stephen A. Smith said, I would have immediately swung on him. Come on. Nobody believes that. He knows what he's doing. Anyway, I do think he's right in a certain instance where LeBron approached him. And LeBron said to him live, this is what LeBron said to him when he approached him at that game. You got to stop talking shit about my son. You got to stop fucking with my son. That's my son. That's my son. And that's the issue I have with it. You're the one that wanted your son in the NBA. You're the one that got your son in the NBA. Let's not sugarcoat it. And now you're mad that sports reporters are saying that your son is not good enough to be in the NBA. That's the truth of the matter. And LeBron is being a hypocrite in the situation. I think I'm on Stephen A. Smith's side on that regard. He said it was during the third quarter. It was fresh out of a timeout. It was him walking on the basketball court. It was on the national television. The cameras were rolling, and I had I done something, what do y'all want me to do? You want this to be a reincarnation of Chris Rock and Will Smith? No, because LeBron James is 6'8", 250 pounds, and he would throw you across the court if you punched him. And Stephen A. Smith knows that. He's not an idiot. Although he knows how that would do 1 billion views, and that's the business that he's in. Let me state for the record that while we bring up that, let me assure you it wouldn't have gone down like that. I would have gotten my ass kicked because had that man put his hands on me, I would have immediately swung on him. See, this is the part that media outlets are leaving out. Before he said I would have swung on him, he literally said I would have gotten my ass kicked. He's saying if LeBron put his hands on me, I would have gotten my ass kicked because I would have swung on him. So now it does make a little bit more sense. He's just saying as a man, I would have reacted the way anybody would react when somebody puts their hands on him, and then I would have got my ass kicked because it's LeBron James. So I actually understand what he's saying. But then, so he says I would have swung on him. The internet goes crazy because that's funny because you're Stephen A. Smith. You're not swinging on anybody, especially a 6'8", 250-pound athlete who would throw you across the court with one arm. Then this comes out. So NBA Central, it jumps on the wave of all of the drama. And I thought this was NBA Centel at first. It's the NBA this is what's funny. The NBA is getting so ridiculous that the parody pages and the real pages are becoming the same thing. The whole thing is becoming a fucking South Park episode. And so now the actual, NBA Dunk Central isn't run by the NBA, but it's been a credible source of NBA news for years now. Now you have the pages that are known to be credible sources and the parody pages, and you can't tell the difference because the whole thing is a parody. So Dunk Central posts, Bovada official, LeBron James is the heavy favorite in a potential boxing match versus Stephen A. Smith. LeBron James minus 5,000, Stephen A. Smith plus 1,000. Now, there's not going to be a boxing match because Stephen A. Smith is 57 years old. And if LeBron James, who is 40, but I would say has the athleticism of a 30-year-old at least, or younger. Now, is he on performance-enhancing drugs? We don't know. But if he punched Stephen A. Smith in the head, he would probably die. This is a reason the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight was clearly staged, because although Mike Tyson throws through one of the hardest punches ever and might still throw one of the hardest punches ever, if Jake Paul full-on punched him in the temple, he would have died. That's why boxers don't box. Anyway, Stephen A. Smith would die if he boxed LeBron James, is what I'm trying to say. And all I'm trying to say is that this whole thing worked. Everybody acts like they hate it, but they love it. Look at this Reddit post. First Take is about to be legendary today. Me and all the bars and restaurants that forgot to turn off ESPN from last night are very excited. Over here just relaxing with my Jason Tatum ruffle chips, patiently waiting to hear what Stephen Anthony Smith has to say today. Do you get it? It's just like a WWE match. Everybody knows it's fake, but they're still tuning in because the story is so good and the drama is so good. Or a UFC fight where they have the two guys arguing with each other for 6 months before it happens. Or a boxing match, Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. Remember that fiasco? And they had these dudes on an arena tour. They just gave these two guys microphones for them to argue for a year. They were in arenas arguing just to get everybody to watch the fight. All this is Stephen A. Smith fueling an argument with LeBron James so that he can get LeBron James to respond, and it just so happened to be on ESPN. Sounds shady, right? And now all of you want to go on to ESPN or go to the Stephen A. Smith show on YouTube or whatever to hear what he has to say. And here's what he had to say. And I'm not going to play the clips because they're going to copyright me, but Stephen A. Smith slams LeBron for going after Brian Windhorst, pointing out that LeBron himself once said no one knows him better than Windhorst. We got some more stuff up here outside of the actual NBA news. And again, this type of stuff is it, let me ask you guys in the comments. Is that because a lot of people like to say the media is what's wrong with the NBA now, right? The media narratives and all the negativity is what's wrong with the NBA now. Is it? Or is the NBA product so fucking boring now that the media companies know that people are more interested in drama and narratives than actually watching the game? The only way to fix this is to make the game better. This is NBA 2K all over again. The sales are declining every year because they keep adding drama and a fucking Spike Lee storyline instead of fixing the game. Eventually, you have to fix the game. Anyway, LeBron James did hit a game-winning buzzer beater last night, but again, nobody cares about that. They care about the drama. LeBron posted on his Instagram page a clip of Stephen A. Smith boxing and laughing at him for it. Stephen A. Smith says LeBron James is butthurt because he doesn't think LeBron is the GOAT. I don't know if that's true. Stephen A. Smith goes off on LeBron James and exposes him for not attending Kobe Bryant's memorial. Now, I think there's going to be a point in time where a line is crossed. You know what I'm saying? This whole thing is drama. This whole thing is getting people to watch the show or click on the first take on Twitter or go to the YouTube page. The whole thing is generating revenue. Stuff like this is like, why you got to bring up Kobe Bryant? Just don't bring that up. You know? Stuff like this is like, is somebody eventually going to say something that's too far across the line? And then Stephen A is going to have to apologize on ESPN, or ESPN's going to have to do damage control if he says something that's across the line. I don't know. But I do know there's a reason Stephen A. Smith is the highest paid person at ESPN. There's a reason he just signed a new multi-million-dollar deal. And it's very similar to like a Twitch streamer that it seems like nobody likes, right? Like Flight Reacts, okay? It seems like everybody hates him. It seems like everybody's laughing at him. But they're watching him. He doesn't care if you think what he says is stupid, or if you're just laughing at him, or if it makes you feel smarter by watching. He doesn't care because you're watching. ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, they know exactly what they're doing. And it's working. For now.